So today, we're learning an equation that you won't have to really do. You're not going to be plugging numbers in it really. It's just like this equation is the equation of exchange. It kind of gives evidence of why we have to do monetary policy. Like why is money supply important and why should we control it type of thing. So this equation, MB equals PQ. Let's break down every single variable that's in the equation. M stands for money in circulation, which M that we talked about, 1, 2, or 3, you think it's talking about in circulation. It's M1. So this M, yes, it stands for money in circulation, but specifically it's talking about M1. M1 money, cash, coins, checks, checking accounts, also called demand deposits, traveler's checks, and so forth. V stands for like velocity. Y'all seen V in like physics?
Yeah.
Okay, so it stands for velocity of money. And what that means is like how many times a year a dollar is spent on average. On average. So the AP test might give you like an idea of a number. Just keep in mind, like in real life, we're going to probably keep that stable. We're going to assume that that's a constant number, but the AP test could change it up. So like I've said in the past, we keep this number stable, but then they had a question about like something that would increase velocity. Like I thought we keep it stable. We do. In real life, we keep that V like a constant number, but the AP test might, switch it up a little bit. P stands for price level, just inflation, but P is basically PL. So think of PL and aggregate supply and demand. And then there's Q, which stands for GDP.
What the heck?
Here. Not Y, but Q, which is on the x-axis. Why do people like eco? Does anyone know what Q is technically standing for besides GDP? It's quantity, and the quantity of all things like put together is our GDP. So I mean, we're not like stretching it too far, but MV equals PQ, meaning the money in circulation times the velocity of money is equal to the price level times our GDP. And we're talking about like percent change. We're not talking about like our GDP being like $7 trillion or anything like that. It's not, it's way higher than that. But we're talking about like percent change. So here's the thing, these two sides are equal, and if these two sides are equal, there will be no inflation. So if these two sides are equal, there's no inflation. Like if the NB side, okay, how about this? The economy grows and like GDP is going up, let's say by 2% a year, which is exactly how we want GDP to go up, about 2 to 3% a year. If we want no inflation, we need to increase the money in circulation and the velocity of money by like 2%. So we need to keep these two balanced so there's no inflation. If ever, like one side grows faster than the other, there's going to be some problems with either inflation or deflation. So what do you think if MV was greater than PQ? Like there was more money supplied than our economy is growing, what are we going to have? Inflation. We're going to have inflation. And then if the other side is bigger, we're going to have deflation. So if money supply basically can't keep up with our growing economy, then we're going to have like deflation, which is a really bad thing. So this equation is not really used as like we're going to plug some numbers in. It's more like, this is why we have monetary policy, because the central bank, the Federal Reserve, the FOMC, controls this side of the equation, controls the MV side, because the PQ, the price level of GDP, that's like just happening like with our spending or net exports or whatever, but like this side can be controlled. So they basically try to control this side so that it's equal to the other side. I need a volunteer for a sticker. Or a piece of candy. Me! Okay, but you just gotta stay there. Well, you're kind of at an angle. But I just want you to reach like the whole thing. Just the whole thing. We're okay. Yeah? It's only like 2 sentences. Maybe 3. But go ahead.
Inflation occurs when the quantity of money rises appreciably more rapidly than output, and the more rapid the rise in the quantity of money per unit of output, the greater the rate of inflation. There is probably no other proposition in economics that is as well established as this.
Yes, of all the things that we know for a fact that if this side rises at a faster rate than this side, there will be inflation. Good job, Presley. Would you like a granola bar?
I love granola bar.
Okay.
Thanks.
I need another volunteer to also get a granola bar. Thanks, Grace. I need your granola. Just have to put that thing in here. Positive reinforcement for good behavior. Grace, could you read this part? Oh, keep in mind that all my sources are from Naked Money, written by Charles Whelan. Go ahead.
If a country's GDP grows 3% annually, and the money supply also grows at 3%, then the quantity of money relative to goods and services would be unchanged. Under normal circumstances, that would leave prices stable, no inflation, no deflation.
Okay, so what does that mean?
If it equals each other, then it's nothing happens.
Yeah, they kind of cancel each other out. Good job, Grace.
Thanks.
I need one more volunteer. Caleb. All right. Just kidding. I'm not going to make you read that. I'll read it here for the volunteer.
Are you serious?
Okay. Velocity, so that V part of the equation, is the crucial link between money supply and prices. Anything that causes individuals and institutions to hang on to money will slow velocity. For example, economic uncertainty causes banks, firms, and consumers to stockpile cash and other liquid assets because they fear less access to credit in the future. Just like if people are scared and normal unemployment. On the other hand, financial innovations that will make it easier to convert assets to cash, such as home equity, will speed up velocity because they enable households to hold less money for a rainy day, or more accurately, a hurricane that blows through. For all of that, short-term fluctuations in velocity can still be puzzling. As one prominent macroeconomist recently conceded to me as we chatted about velocity while watching her daughters compete in a cross-country race, yeah, we really don't understand velocity. This turns out to be more of an idle observation. Changes in velocity make it hard to predict precisely how increases or decreases in the money supply will affect prices, at least in the short term. So, like, they know this equation to be true, and they can control this side, the Federal Reserve, but they don't really know what's going on with B, which is probably why in real life they keep it stable, or they just keep it a constant number, and they're like making up other equations. But I have seen some questions where it says like, in an economy that has no inflation, and price level goes up by 2%, and GDP is going up by 1%, and this goes down, and money supply went down by like 3. No. I'm trying to do math. It's difficult. Math is hard. I don't want to do it individual. There we go. Because that's not making the question too hard. Does anyone know what they would put the P and Q together? What that would be? If we like tacked on price level. What's that wrong? Oh my God, did it close? But P and Q, if you tacked on price level onto GDP, there's a whole nother name for that. Do y'all know? Do y'all know this? Do you remember? If you put like price level, which is inflation, if you tacked it onto GDP, what that would be? Y'all know this. Oh God, the test is not a good one. Y'all know this. It's not a graph, it's a term with several equations attached to it that you've been tested over before. No. No. Not. No. Oh, guys. What, Kennedy? Yeah, nominal. What does nominal mean? Non-adjusted for inflation, like has inflation in it. Inflation on nominal GDP, not nominal is inflation. And then yeah. Okay, so let's go back to our report. Oh, I didn't say.
Do you read it again?
No. 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 Okay, so this side of the equation technically is nominal GDP. Like they separated the price level of GDP, real GDP, but if you put them together, PQ would be nominal. Okay, and the test question that I'm thinking of was like if peak, it says that nominal GDP went up by 4% and money supply went down by like 2%, what happens to velocity? It goes down by 2%. 2 times 2 is 4 equals 4. And they would be equal. So it's like if the economy, like basically they need, if there's no inflation, those two sides are equal, and then it's like this. It's technically like M times V equals P times Q, but we just say M V equals Q. Okay, so we actually learned like how do they control money supply? Like what are the tools of monetary policy? This is kind of maybe like a big chart, like this. Fed's policy decisions, like how do they control money supply? How does the Fed control money supply? That's the main job of the Federal Reserve. How do they do it? Sticker. To anyone that can tell me the two tools of fiscal policy. Grace.
Taxes and government.
Taxes and government spending. Taxes and government spending. Okay, so there's 2 tools of fiscal. There's 3 tools of monetary. Notice how I have got 3 things up there. We're on a roll today. So these are the 3 tools, I guess you could say, of monetary policy. It's the Fed's policy decision, but there's 3 of them. And those blanks are just for me to write in. Those are like fill in the blank. So like with fiscal policy, you'd be like taxes and government spending. And they'd be like, oh, what taxes and down government spending? Okay. So let me add some stuff. So expansionary monetary policy, it's just like expansionary fiscal. What is our goal? When are we going to do that, Brett? When we're in a recession. Okay, so the whole purpose of expansionary monetary policy is to expand AD in a recession. Okay, Savannah, we're in a recession. Do you think the goal is to increase or decrease money supply if I want people to be spending more and get us out of the recession? Increase. So all of these things that I'm about to write down increase money supply. So expansionary monetary policy increases NS money supply. Okay, so they've got 3 tools at hand. And fiscal policy has 2 tools at hand. Which one is the tool in fiscal policy that they do the most often? Government spending. Why?
Because it's a bigger difference.
It has a bigger difference. KS is greater than KT, and it has a bigger effect. Okay, just like fiscal policy has its own like primary tool, monetary policy has its primary tool, and it's in order. This is the order that they do things in. So the first one is they do something with bonds. What's a bond? It's a loan. Okay, so remember, it is basically a loan. So there's other words for bonds. I don't know, I think the last test, the midterm, it's on some wrong answer choices. It has some of these words, but they were wrong because we haven't talked about them before, so obviously it's not those. But did anyone see the term securities? Like government securities or something like that? Securities is another way to, a fancy way to say bonds. And so is this longer word, and probably used more often than bonds, which is open market operations. Open market operations. Or OMO for short. OMO. So how do I remember that all of these are the same thing? James provides security. And he sleeps with a lot of women, so no homo. Yeah? Does that help? Yeah. Of course, in this case, it is homo, because that's another way to say it. So that could be confusing. But, okay. I need. policy. Okay. Okay, sorry, I had to make sure that I was in a recession. Got it. Oh no, Caleb, the economy is really bad. Tell me what happens to the unemployment rate. Sorry. Yes. Is correct. What type of unemployment gets really bad in a recession? Cyclical. It's like the economy's sick. And it's like the Federal Reserve, Jerome Powell, current chairman of the Federal Reserve, I would like you to spend more money. What do you have in your hand? You have a bond. Is it bond money? No, it's not M1, M2, M3. None of those things says bonds. Cash coins, yeah, none of those are bonds. That is not money. So you can't spend that, can you? You can't use that as a medium of exchange. Unit of account? Store value? No, it's definitely not money. So you can't spend this. But what can I do? What can I do to make him spend more money to get us out of a recession? I can't just hand him cash because, well, no, that wouldn't work. What I can pay, hey, you know how you bought that bond like 30 years ago as a good financial investment? Because you support the troops. Okay, I would, it's due, it's mature, and it's like 30 years old. Would you like your money back for the bond? Yeah. So, what am I, Caleb, doing right now? Am I buying or selling bonds? I am buying. What am I going to give you for them? What are you going to do with this money? Wait, hold on. Is that money? Is it M1, M2, or M3? And M2 and M3. It's all the same. And so what are you going to do with that money? And if you spend it, is it CIG or exit changing? You are Caleb. You're not a business or government or foreman. You're you. Consumption. Is it going to increase or decrease if you're spending more money? And aggregate demand's going to shift to the closing that we're in. Hooray! So what did the Fed do in this case? What was my buy bonds? You do not look at monetary policy from the point of view of Caleb. Caleb is a person. He is not Federal Reserve. We're talking about the Fed's decisions, the Fed's actions. So technically, yeah, he sold a bond. But what I did, the Federal Reserve, is I bought them. Buy bonds. Contraction in monetary policy is just the opposite. It's trying to contract. It's trying to slow down AD. It's trying to stop inflation. It is essentially decreasing money supply. MS, money supply. Oh no, Caleb. You spent way too much money. We have inflation. It's going through the roof. Inflation is about what percentage? More than that, because we have inflation. 2% is technically our goal. That's like a sweet spot. Say a number greater than 2. Well, probably not going to step in for 2.1. Say 5. 5% inflation. Holy crap! And so I can't just take money. I'm Jerome Powell. I've been saying Janet Yellen for like 5 years. I am Jerome Powell, so I can't take money to stop me from spending. Well, what I can do is, hey, Caleb, do you love freedom? Do you love America? Do you support the troops? Do you care about your financial future? Want to make a sound and safe financial investment that will be guaranteed repayment as long as the United States still exists in about 30 years? Sounds great to you. I, the Federal Reserve, am going to sell him a bond. Sell. Thank you. And so I take money away from him. And what happens to like the amount of money in circulation if he doesn't have any money? It decreases. Can you spend more or less money, Caleb? What happens to aggregate demand? It shifts to the left and it closes the inflationary gap because the Federal Reserve sells bonds. Yay. Okay, so the Fed buys bonds and increases money supply. If the Fed sells bonds, it decreases money supply. This is their primary monetary policy tool. Is that when they get together, like, how many times a year does the FOMC meet? 8 times a year. Who said 12? 8 times a year. They meet 8 times a year and they decide exactly how many bonds to buy and sell. Like they are talking about like, we're going to be buying or selling $300 million worth of bonds or something like that. It's like a ridiculous number. But they get together and they decide what to do and how many bonds to either buy or sell. So there are other tools that they can do. I'm going to just bring this down a little bit. I'm going to define it first. Yeah. The discount rate. Naomi, what's the job of the Fed? What's one of the things that the Federal Reserve does? What? Oh, well, what's its primary job? Michael, help her out. Oh.
No.
I mean, it's okay. Here's the thing. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. You don't know this. I don't expect you to know this. And I don't think it's covered in government. But what prints the money? Yes. Okay. Yeah. Which is not the Federal Reserve. So when they're talking about controlling money supply, they are not talking about like turning on or off the printing press that prints money. That's not how they control money supply. That is done all the time. They print, I'm going to say, I actually know this. They print, I've got a whole bunch of money. I mean, not real money. I mean, yes, it's technically real money, but it's shredded money. Okay. Yeah, it's true. Well, money's really, really dirty. And so they shred money all the time to replace their really disgusting bills. Of course, they're also printing money at the same time that they're shredding it, so that we're not having like inflation or deflation. It's just the current amount of money like that's printed. So it says somewhere on here how much they print a day for shredded day. Okay, so like this is like $364 of shredded money. This is, this is 10 bills. It doesn't even say how much. This is also 10 bills. I don't work with the Federal Reserve. They actually, okay, so yeah, they print the money at the Mint, and then they shred the money at the Fed. But they're not printing more or less money to do monetary policy. That is not how they're doing it. They're buying and selling bonds, or they're changing the discount rate, or doing something to the required reserve ratio, but they're not just printing money. If you want to like, how would you know what that looks like?
I watched.
Okay. Okay. Look at money. Enjoy some money.
But I'm curious, did you buy it?
No. That I went to the Federal Reserve Bank in Denver, and they're all like, take one per person. And my husband's like, I don't need one. I was like, well, you're getting one because now I have to. And the other ones I got when I was at the Fed in Houston, and then one of those was given to me by a student. Dylan Morgan, he went to the Fed in like, I forget where they went. And he picked up. I don't remember what yeah, what? How much? 10 million. Okay, so I was a little off by saying 20 million. Just. But yeah, so that's so sure enough money you can pass it around. Please do not open the bag. And no, you cannot take them back together. For that every year. What do you do if you do? That's all for you. On level. Okay, discount rate. Let's talk about the discount rate.
It's so tiny.
Yeah, because they want to make sure you don't put it back together.
But it's like,
And usually it's like shredded and like, I think it's burned. But then they they keep some bags as like, oh, little trinket that you get when you go to the Fed. So you don't have to pay for them.
it's like
Right, like we'll take your money. They're like, right. Okay. So, yes, Kennedy slash Naomi slash Michael. The job of the Federal Reserve is to control money supply. What's another job of the Fed? What else do they do? I told you all yesterday the things that they do. What?
Loan money for banks.
Loan money to banks. Hey, Hobby, if you were to take out a loan from a bank, would they charge you for that loan? Yeah. What's that called? Like.
Interest rate?
Yeah, and so if you were to take a loan from a bank, they're going to charge you interest. If banks take out loans from the Fed, they're also going to charge the bank interest because they're also in a money-making business. They're a bank. So the discount rate is the interest rate that the Fed charges banks for loans. This tool is rarely used, the discount rate. It's rarely used. Why do you think that they rarely change this? I said something yesterday of like, yes, the Fed is a bank's bank, and banks can take out loans, and they're a lender to banks. Christian?
They're the last resort.
They're the last place you're going to go. If you are a bank and you need a loan and no one else will loan to you, what kind of shady bank is not being trusted by other banks? So now you're going to have to go to Papa Bank, and they're going to audit you. They're going to send in like their agents, and they're going to be like, what's going on that no other bank trusts you enough to loan you money? And so this interest rate rarely ever change, and it's rarely ever even like charged, just because rarely people go to the Federal Reserve. But you know, it is a tool that they can't use just in case like it's like apocalypse times and everyone's running and like pulling out their money. So it's there. It's just not a tool that's often used. So Hobby, if I want you to take out more loans, should I raise or lower interest rates for you to take out more loans?
Lower.
And so what if it was a bank? Do you think it would be any different for a bank taking out loans? Would they want higher or lower interest rates?
Lower.
Yeah, if you want more money in a recession, you want people like to spend more money, make it cheaper to borrow money for everyone, you and banks. In fact, that discount rate, even though it's rarely used, is very important because that interest rate is the interest rate that all the other interest rates are based off of. Your credit card interest rate is based off this one. Your student loan interest rate is based off this one. So even they don't really touch it all that often. When they do, it makes your car payments more or less, your house payments more or less, and all the other things that charge interest is based off of this one. Of course, if you're spending too much, borrow less by having higher interest rates. And I know it's called discount rate. Don't think that raising it raises a discount. It could be called like fun, happy sunshine rate. It doesn't even, if I'm raising it, it's more expensive. If I'm lowering it, it's cheaper. It doesn't matter that it's called a discount. But if you raise it, no, it's just called that because it's just a cheaper one. Okay, and the last one is the required reserve ratio. The RRR for short. Don't call it the RRR. I also take like I'm an SRQ. Maybe. But not because that's the same thing. I don't know. They'll say market operations are bonds. They're probably just okay, so the required reserve ratio. Let's see if we can break down these orders to figure out what it means. What's a ratio? A proportion? What's another way to say proportion?
Fraction.
Fraction? Another way to say that?
Percentage.
A percent. Okay. It's a percent. What does required mean? Mandatory, you have to do it. Does anyone know what reserves? Okay. So what do you think we're talking about here? Money. Okay. So this is a percent of like money that you have to required by law to keep in the bank at all times. So each bank is all like how much money is in the vault? It depends. It is a percentage, of deposits. So the more deposits the bank has, the more money, but it's still the same percent. It's usually around like 10% or 5%, something like that. A percent of deposits that must be kept in the bank at all times. Let's say that they do keep 10% of all deposits in the bank at all times. What do they do with the other 90%? They loan it out, they put it in ATMs, they give it as cash back, like when you go and withdraw cash, they're giving that out. But there's like a certain fraction that has to be in the vault at all times. And you're like, but what if people like go to the bank and they're like, I would like to take out my money, and then like there's only so much money left, and they're like, well, sorry, by law, they still give them that money. They just call like the bricks armored trucks, and they're like, hey, we're low on some money, and then they like get some like cent. So they always have like a certain amount of money in the bank at all times. Like the bank that I worked at was Bank of America on, oh my gosh, what's the name of that street? 1488 and 2978, like over there. Does anyone know where that is?
Yes.
Okay, it's like by Kroger. Yeah.
Chick-fil-A.
I think there's a Chick-fil-A right too.
Yeah.
Okay. All you girls know your fried chickens. But yeah, I used to work at that bank. So if you know that bank, it's like a small bank. I think at most 5 people work there at any given time, and we didn't even have a security guard. But even in that tiny bank, I think we kept like 100,000 in reserves at all times. So that shows you like how much money is actually deposited at that bank. It's only about 10% is kept in the vault, and then the other 10% gets loaned out or put in the ATM or whatever. So you guys are not spending any money. We're in a recession. This reserve ratio is a percentage. Should I lower the percentage that's kept in the bank? Or should I raise the percentage that's kept in the bank if I want you guys to have more money? Lower, because that frees up more money. I can give out more loans and so forth. I lower the required reserve ratio. This tool is rarely used. They're really going to be doing buying and selling bonds. They're probably not going to change the required reserve ratio all that much. But if you guys are spending way too much money, and it's like, okay, I need to hold more money in the vault and give you less, then I'm going to raise the required reserve ratio, the RRR. It's a pirate's favorite monetary policy tool. Okay, yay! All right, so if you just memorize one column, you got the other one set. Buy lower, sell, raise. So just buy bonds, lower the discount rate, lower the required reserve ratio. Make everything like cheaper if you want people to spend more. Make everything more expensive if you want people to spend less. And so buy lower to expand the economy, sell, raise to contract it. I think we have done